You can't make this shit up. Was that echo?
That would be me again. I
Oh
am
well,
sorry. I thought it was automatic that I was on mute, but that was me. I'm sorry.
no, everybody. Look, I was just going to start out by saying you can't make this shit up.
I just can't.
So, welcome to You Can't Make This Shit Up. David Washington, our leader, and Joel Hoxley. Uh, we're ready to be your innovators. We want to bring new ideas. We want to make politics cordial again.
Political innovators.
So we are at our new home, West Colonial, and we are really excited.
A thank you to our producer, John D. Maria of 7th Legion Multimedia.
Nice.
Yes. So the striking contrast illustrates. I am totally on the wrong page of the show notes here. But on August the 8th, special election voters resoundingly rejected Ohio Republicans' attempt to impose hurdles on passing amendments to the state constitution, a proposal that would have made it much more difficult to pass an abortion rights measure in November. 57% of Ohio voters across both Democratic and Republican counties voted no on the Republican proposal. Republicans' efforts illustrate an increasing antagonism among elected Republicans across the country toward the nation's purest form of direct democracy, the citizen initiated ballot measure. Let's jump in.
Come on, David. This is the LA Times. Okay. Listen, it's the way it's been presented. I so they had an initiative. They have tried to make it harder to get for us. Like we had the train put into our constitution that we couldn't even afford, and then we had to change some laws. We had to make sure that we needed to make sure that um, we passed a law to say it has to be looked at by an economic, so for us it was okay. We had to change some things because we couldn't finance it. So we now have nothing goes on our ballot until it's been looked at whether it can fit into the budget because we have a balanced budget.
Mhm.
We have made it more difficult for initiatives to get on the ballot because they're we have pigs on our ballot on our in our we have free pigs in our constitution. You can't pen a pig in Florida. That was when I first got here. This is what I learned about the Florida Constitution.
PIGS. No. A pig.
You cannot pen pigs. You have to. You have to read the Constitution.
I'm confused.
It's in our Constitution.
Pigs.
Pigs, yes.
Okay.
And speeding trains and yeah. It had this. It had the votes, so it's there.
Oh, the Florida Constitution.
Yeah, I'm talking about our Constitution. I'm trying to explain.
I thought you when you say "R," I thought you meant the United States.
Oh hell no!
Okay,
listen. You know me, David. I don't like to. I don't like to. I don't like to talk about the federal government if I don't have to. I mean, that just burns me up when I talk about that. But I'm trying to, for our audience, we're talking about Ohio. Now, this is Ohio's initiative. LA Times, or maybe the Democrats did a very good job because they're reporting this as the only reason they did this was because they want to get an abortion law passed. Could it be a coincidence that this was something that they were actually going to do prior, and now Roe v. Wade has come, and now they want to do an abortion thing? I mean, come on. It could have been something they wanted to do because maybe pigs are on their constitution too. Maybe free range chickens are on theirs. I don't know what's on their constitution, but I know we have pigs on ours.
So a little context. And going back to your very first statement about um, these citizen-led initiatives, ballot initiatives in 2011. Speaking of Ohio, then Governor John Kaddish was contrite when he's and the Republicans were defeated by the Ohio voters when they tried to push a law limiting the rights of union members. And I quote, he said, "I heard their voices, I understand their decision, and frankly, I respect what people have to say in an effort like this." And that is what he told reporters after the defeat. And so my point in this, whether it's from the LA Times, and I pulled this story from the LA Times, just
It's a good story.
there were others.
No, they all said the same thing.
Sources, but I wanted.
No, but they all said the same. David,
I wanted to see if you.
They
if you
all
caught
said the
that.
same thing, but
Right.
that's why I'm
Right.
saying everybody in the media is putting them together.
Okay, but the point is that there is an effort across country, particularly in Republican led states with super majorities, where they are trying to limit the access of their citizens to revise their constitutions or to enact legislation that
Okay.
the citizens have decided that is worthy to be considered on a statewide ballot.
Am I correct? I mean, am I correct that Orange County is trying to make it harder to get stuff on the ballot?
I believe that was introduced or discussed in the Charter Review Commission.
Yes.
However, that would be preempted by the state of Florida, which has enacted more laws. The supermajority has enacted more laws to preempt decisions at the local level for local municipalities and jurisdictions.
I just wanted to.
But I don't think it's going anywhere. There's been vocal opposition to making it more difficult. I know previously in the previous charter review, there was a proposal to make it a little bit easier to present ballot initiatives to the charter review process.
We get charter reviews that put things on there, and they pass with like almost 80%, and the courts
they're preempted, unfortunately.
They say, well, you can't do that.
Some of these ideas are very liberal ideas, and because of the Republican conservative,
I don't think making your
legislature,
I don't think making your constitutionals NPAs, taking the partisanship out of your constitutionals, and then you have our mayor, who was the sheriff at the time, sues to keep him partisan and wins. I mean, this citizens answered their call, right? And they said they wanted it. So I'm just saying it came up in conversation. That's what I'm saying. So you have all those liberals.
Well, you're throwing a lot at me. I'm kind of confused. I'm a little confused.
So the charter review, I'm just making sure that somebody introduced making it more difficult.
Right.
On the charter review.
Right.
Right. And I thought they leaned left. That's all. I don't know anybody who's.
But you mentioned something about the sheriff.
That's charter review. When they said they went to the charter review, said we want to present on the ballot nonpartisan. All of our constitutionals will be nonpartisan.
Constitutional officers. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So our constitutional officers then sue, led by Jerry Demings, who was our sheriff at the time.
Okay. All right.
To make sure that they stayed partisan, and they won.
Right.
So the mayor,
so the state Supreme Court ruled in
correct.
their favor. Got it. Now I'm following. Okay.
Correct. And so I'm saying, like, there's all kinds of moving parts. That's why it's confusing. But there's all kinds of moving parts to these things. They wanted to make it more difficult, but it's tied to this abortion thing in Ohio.
Correct. This most recent,
but they might not
effort was tied to keeping the abortion issue off the
See,
off
I
the ballot.
looked. See, David, I looked everywhere.
Mhm.
I looked everywhere, and I cannot see how they're tied together. One was proposed at a totally different time, and Roe v. Wade hadn't even that this initiative was introduced before Roe v. Wade was uh, decided to. So the abortion thing came much later.
The Dobbs decision.
What are we talking? I'm talking about this.
So confused.
Okay, I'm in Ohio,
Okay.
and they are trying to make it more difficult to get initiatives on the ballot.
Right. The Republicans.
Right, and I looked at
Okay.
that legislation, and it was introduced quite a bit earlier than when the Supreme Court gave the states the right to regulate abortion.
The Dobbs decision.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Yeah.
The most recent
Oh
Supreme
yeah.
Court
Sorry,
decision.
sorry. The two didn't hit, but yeah, the
Okay.
Dobbs decision.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if this was an initiative prior to this abortion legislation, then the Democrats did a great job of tying them together. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that they were truly, if you look at it deeply, they were truly not. This was not because they wanted to get this thing thrown down their throat. Oh well, we're going to push this on the people, and no, they're two different things that the media and the Democrats tied together. All I'm saying is they did kudos. They did a good job. Their Democrats got on board. They tied the two together. They knew because of the midterms, this was a win. So I'm saying that I would not have seen it any other way.
Right. I believe that the abortion issue was caught in this debate. There's other initiatives like union rights, of course, the abortion bans, gun control measures.
Mhm.
This particular legislation or this particular ballot initiative addressed many particular concerns that the Ohio GOP was hoping to limit the conversation, limit the access to revising the state constitution. And it just so happens that abortion was an issue that the Democrats jumped on and let,
Listen, we
citizens of both parties know, like, this is what's happening.
David,
The Republicans want to limit your voice.
I say this all the time. I live in the bubble.
Yes.
Like Florida is a bubble because what we just went through as a country was totally different than what we got in Florida.
Yes, that's true.
Abortion,
That's true.
Abortion across the nation got us a very small majority in Congress. That should have been a victory for the Republicans in every state. We should have taken on more seats because of how poorly Biden was doing things. I mean, the draw out and all this stuff, it was piling on. You're at 37% approval rating, and yet you didn't lose Congress.
And because the Democrats were wise in using women's reproductive health care as their number one issue to rally their base and rally people to the polls, they were able to keep control of the Senate. They were able to have keep the Republicans to a very narrow majority in Congress.
Because of Florida. We had 4 new seats.
Yes. And Florida was the outlier. That may change in 2024.
Oh, I'm just saying, David, that I'd like people to know.
Female reproductive care is
only Anna
Eskamani
in the state of Florida get any momentum with that, because
but Anna Eskamani, again, in this bubble, when you dig deep, Anna Eskamani's district is very liberal, and she was going to win. She was going to win.
Absolutely.
She had a challenger that pushed hard, but it was a plus billion, Biden district.
But see, this is what
it's a district that was very good for her.
So
However, the money that was spent by the Republicans, again, they rolled on Democrats.
yeah,
They had a great strategy, and the Democrats had a poor candidate for governor in Charlie Crist. They did not have any money as compared to the Republicans, and they didn't have an overall strategy while the uh, Democratic registration numbers were declining, steadily declining. It was a perfect storm for a Republican supermajority.
but what I was getting at, David, is we are so stupid when it comes to
No, I don't
no,
think
when it comes
stupid is a
to
harsh word.
when it no, we don't do a very smart job of trying to put somebody up against Anna Eskamani, because Anna Eskamani, we all Republicans think that the issue of abortion is going to push. They're going to be so fed up with her one issue that this guy that wants like all these restrictions and doesn't believe in abortion at all. Those are the people we've hit. Those are the people that run against Anna Eskamani. Listen, you need to be moderate. You need to be. You come to me and you say you want to take on Anna Eskamani. I'm going to ask you about 5 questions, and I'm going to tell you to go find another district, find another place to run, because you're going to be drowned out if you. They only go after her for issues like that issue, and I'm like, you're too conservative. You got to look at your district. You really want to spend. Nobody's going to donate to you. You're not going to get any momentum. You don't agree on any of the thing. Even if you said, I want the 45 weeks. Yeah, it's different than your party, right? Guess what? You nullified her one issue. You just go in there and you're like, I'm not going to attack her on abortion. You might actually, you might say, yeah, I want some restrictions, but I don't want mega 6 weeks,
It goes back to our
Mhm.
one of our governing philosophies: the best people with the best ideas for their community, and that means finding the best Republican or the best Democrat or in between that will have a good chance of winning that particular seat based on the needs of their community. And that's a good example. I scratch my head too. A Democrat comes to me and they want to run in, a red district, like the opposite of Anna Eskamani.
Well, everybody has to think like me.
And
This is what it sounds like when they come to you. It's like everybody's got to think like me. I mean, she's so bad. She wants to kill babies. Da da da. And you're like, you do know you can't take her on that issue.
right.
You need to take her on economy. You need to take her on these things. And guess what? You're not going to win that district unless you convince Democrats to vote for you.
Right.
No, the MPAs are like X, Y, Z. You're like,
Lord.
you can't look at MPAs.
Do it, Joel. Do it.
Look at MPAs
Take them
as like a neutral zone, right?
Mhm.
You don't know which way they're going to lean. You don't know where they're at. So you can't say that all those people that are MPAs think like you. No, they're in a blue district for a reason. They like their neighbors for a reason. They talk to their neighbors for a reason. There's going to be a tough time for you to get them MPAs. So count the people you know you're going to have, and then count the people that you could get to the polls. And once you figure that out, you may not want to waste somebody else's money. Let somebody else waste it. Like, find a moderate. Let a moderate into your party. Let these people that maybe you don't agree with them 100%, but let them in the party, because you could have a super duper majority if you took a really moderate Republican who wants your economy and just cares about your economy. Broward County. You could take Palm Beach. You can take Miami-Dade. You can take you could take Orlando. I mean, you're looking at it the wrong way. Like, we're so partisan. Everybody has to think like us. Donald Trump was a Democrat his entire life. He's given more money to the Democratic Party than he's even spent on being president of the United States. But yet every Republican is crazy about him. And I'm like, he's a Democrat, right? Like, and then the newest thing, right? I used to be a Democrat. I used to be a Democrat. I used to be a Democrat. Like 75% of the people at a Donald Trump rally are telling me that they used to be a Democrat. Listen, I've never been a Democrat. Never. Since 18 years old, I've been registered to vote.
Follow your
and
leader.
I'm like, I would, and if I went to the Democrats, do you think I would tell them I used to be a Republican? I'm here because of Donald Trump or what? No, bullshit. This is like, you can't make this shit up.
Wait, there's a knock at the door. There's a knock at the door. There's a line of Republicans waiting to hire us after listening to that. You're right. I don't understand. Read the room. Read the room.
Right.
And I don't understand. I would say the exact same thing to a Democrat running in a +5, +10, Donald Trump, district.
I want to go down to Fort Myers. I want to go down to Fort Myers, and I want to take on Byron Donaldson, and I want to take him on because I want to take him on because he's so far to the right. He's like a Donald Trump. Calm your little self down, Democrat. There's no possible way for you to win his seat. Why would you waste your party's? Why would you waste your party's money
until he becomes governor?
When he becomes governor, it's still going to be a Republican that's going to replace him. He only had to win the primary, right?
And this says a lot about the situation in Ohio, and it's a lesson for Republicans and Democrats. Democrats in blue states that have super majorities or large majorities. There's going to be some pushback. Citizens who are involved or who will get involved because there is something that gets them excited are going to see it for what it is.
Absolutely.
And so, to move in either direction in the extreme, there's always going to be a pushback, and the citizens are going to say, there's a problem.
Just like you said, David, they needed to read the room. Ohio did not read the room. The Republicans were so set on the fact that they thought they had a win, and then, man, you should have left the abortion thing off the ballot. You could have got your ballot initiative. People would have just stayed home. Nothing would have energized them. I said stupid earlier. I'm going to say ridiculous. Right. And that's my final word.
My final word is that, the Republicans are going to try this again. Rumor has it in Ohio. And you just got to scratch your head and say, okay, you do you. That's it for me.
Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you get in the conversation. Because if you disagree with us,
we love talking to you.
We love talking to you. So thank you.
We're out.